as SPOILT. Now SPOILT are essentially a fortnightly deep tech underground house event held in the most unusual and unlikely location in the CBD of Sydney. That's the central business district, which is normally frequented by city gents. So let's face it, guys, is that right?
Absolutely, yep.
Took a while to bring them round, if hopefully we do.
Right, so I mean, but yet you guys have put on a credible night, and you know, that boasts of modest crowds, and obviously it's headlined by Sydney's finest underground DJs. SPOILT, as far as I'm concerned, is a night that's indicative of the new underground house vibe. Would you say that's correct?
I think that's a fair assumption, definitely, yep.
And I mean, it's certainly an emerging culture and a welcome change from the over-commercialised. Look, I'm not going to mention any names, whatever else.
You don't need to.
Some of those dodgy venues, yeah, I know what you mean.
For sure. But you know what? It's with pleasure that I do welcome the two of you. And what I'd like the viewers and the listeners to do basically is get an insight into your backgrounds, because you'll notice two very distinct
personalities.
Well, not personalities, even lingo. One's very British, one's very Australian.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with Andrew. Andrew Wright. So Andrew, very briefly, just gives a rundown of your background and with regards to
musically.
Well, the Bristolian sound.
Oh, the Bristolian sound. I reckon I was quite fortunate growing up in Bristol, to be honest. I think it did see quite a few good talents there. There was some good DJs, some good music came out of there. I think mostly at the time, growing up there, I think the early 90s, getting involved with the scene quite heavily then. I think it was mostly all about drum and bass.
Sure.
Drum and bass, lots of bass lines, obviously. The likes of Ronnie Size, always Crust, Die, all that kind of sound came out of Bristol, which was great to be a part of that at the time. But then to the other extreme, you had all the house boys. So I think a lot of the talent that you'd probably recognise are the likes of, say, Jody Wistanoffer and Nick Warren.
For sure, yeah.
They're the two, and most remarkably, I think Jamie Anderson, I think he's doing really well as well. So that time was, certainly a good time that I'm glad I was involved with. And I think it probably setting the foundations for now, really.
Okay, so basically we're talking about the 90s, okay?
Yeah, I'm quite old.
I wasn't going to do that. But
let's be honest. Yeah, I'm no spring chicken anymore. You know that.
You're one of the veterans. I won't say the old school, but certainly one of the veterans. But and you certainly your experience is boding well for you over here in Sydney for sure. But I want you to talk about what prompted you to set up SPOILT and why the CBD.
I think it was pretty much our location of where we worked. We worked right by to the Settlement Bar, and we kind of looking for a place to unwind on a Friday night, have a few beers, and just fed up with those. Again, I'm not going to mention any names of venues, but the music that went on there was pretty shocking, really.
Pretty average. Yep.
I mean, we just thought it'd be great to go somewhere, have a few beers, unwind, listen to some quality music, put on some good DJs, and set the night up, really. I mean, you know, for myself, you know, I don't go out as much as I used to, so it was nice that the earlier venue was good, that I could still listen to some good tunes, and we felt if we could kind of get some people down, set them up for the whole evening, going out and seeing some other talent, really.
Okay, so in terms of talent, because obviously the main vibe in Sydney is very much, I mean, it's a commercial night out. It's one big commercial night out. So
unfortunately,
so finding the DJs that you've, I mean, for example, you've had guys like Trinity, Dirty D, Andrew Welk. You know, what's been the attraction for those guys to come and play in the CBD?
I think some money and some free pints after time down, and I think they can come straight from work and spin a few tunes. You know, I reckon that's a big incentive. No, I hope it wouldn't just be about that. I hope it would just be that we're trying to get that sound across. Really, I think that kind of deeper deeper sound, more laid back, that goes with the brand that we're trying to go, and attracting those DJs. We're very pleased that they've taken time out and played for us.
Sure.
And it's so far been so good, really. I mean, it's a difficult venue. We think the Settlement Bar, because it's a lot of corporate crowd as well. So if we manage to keep them there with our music, then we think we've done very well, really. So we hope with some of the DJs we're putting on there that it's going to build up in numbers.
Excellent. Well, I mean, certainly it's as you know from the UK, you know, the vibe starts from the underground and filters out, regardless of what you know the major or big clubs are doing. You know, if we keep a really tight network from from the clubs to the DJs and even from people like myself on the FM, then you know we will be able to write our own tickets. That's my perspective, and it's extremely refreshing to see you guys doing really well, sort of you know, working sort of week in, week out to get the vibe alive. Now I know that you've brought a mix for us today. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the stuff you've got in that mix for us?
In all honesty, I probably did about 3 or 4 of these mixes because it's trying to put in enough in 30 minutes to reflect what we're going to do. So this is probably about take 4 of some of the ideas I had. First of all, I wanted to go quite deep housey, then it was dub, then I kind of did all these swing arounds, really. So what you got tonight was the last of the lot. It starts off quite deep house, nice bass line, going into quite a dubby kind of loungy sound, which I'm really quite into at the moment. I like a lot of dubs, which you'll probably find comes out a bit in this mix. Yeah, it's quite deep. I hope you enjoy it. Really, something a bit different and a reflection of what would play at Spoil.
Well, I know for sure that the listeners and the viewers who are looking at this YouTube will certainly be.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. I was a bit nervous about that when you first said that. I must be honest.
No, listen, you've handled yourself very, very well. Listen, once again, for those of you listening on the FM or the podcast, this is the weekly R&G. This is a slightly different format to what I've been doing over the last 9 weeks or so, which has been straight, sort of DJ Mr. Magic mashups. I'm going to be bringing in, the underground crew from obviously my local where I am, and obviously the guys abroad that I think that are keeping this scene alive. It's not just about the major boys with the big bucks being paid to just water down their sets. No, it's about the very people that we have in the studio. We're going to hear Andrew Wright's mix, and then after that we're going to have a quick chat with Brendan Clay. For me, when it comes to Sydney DJs, this guy he could cut it basically in the UK or US doing his set for sure. I've been very, very impressed with this young man. We're going to be speaking to him a bit later after we hear from after we hear from Andrew Wright's mix. This is Sport. This is 2SSR 99.7 FM, the weekly R&G. Hold tight.